Good morning. It is day 18 of my 30-day health challenge. It is also my last day here in my last full day here in California. Tomorrow I will be flying back to Texas to be back home with my husband after being gone from him a couple of weeks. Today is August 1st and I left Texas on July 15th. So I have been doing all the days of this health challenge thus far from away from home. And I did that on purpose because I wanted to show that going into a situation where you're trying to improve your health markers, your weight, your glucose, there would be other markers too. You could track your blood pressure, which I haven't been doing here, so I'm looking forward to getting back to Texas because that's one of the things I typically do. First thing in the morning, I have a blood pressure cuff that sits on my nightstand, and so I sit up in bed and I take my temperature, I take my blood pressure, and then I take my morning fasting glucose. And then when I get out of bed, I walk into the bathroom and I take my weight. So I've been sharing a bedroom with my granddaughter while I've been here in my daughter and son-in-law's home. And I can't do all those things sitting up in bed in the morning. I would wake her up or disturb her. So I usually just try to get up at least an hour ahead of her so she's still asleep, and I slip out of the room, and then I come out here and I start my day out here. So I've dispensed with taking the temperature and taking the blood pressure measurement. So 2 more days and I can start doing that. I have a good day ahead of me. My daughter and I are planning on having some one-on-one time this late morning to just past lunch. And then after that, a makeup date that I had to cancel earlier in the health challenge when I came down with a cold. And so that makeup date and we've been texting back and forth trying to land on something that would work for both of us today. So I think today is it, that we'll get our date before I fly out tomorrow. And I'm pretty excited about that. It's one of those friendships where you sit down and you realize you could talk for hours, just hours. So I'm excited to reconnect with her from having met her last year. So I will turn the camera around and show you my morning fasting glucose, and at the same time I will also show you the trend in my weight since I started this challenge 18 days ago. Yesterday's morning fasting glucose was 81, and I went to bed last night with a glucose of 91 after not having eaten since that breakfast meal that I had yesterday as my 1 meal a day. I was open to eating 2 meals a day yesterday, but I never got hungry again. I was comfortable, and I thought I'm going to ride it out. Not that there was much to struggle riding it out. Riding it out sounds like you were working at it. Okay, so place a drop of blood here. I need my lancing device. Let's do this finger. Okay. Raise a drop of blood. I did have food thoughts yesterday, but it wasn't actual hunger. And so I guess that's the part of riding it out. Oh, nice. Okay, 71. That would be so beautiful if that's really it. But I know from experience I'm going to get 3 different numbers, most likely. So let's see what the next 2 numbers are. And then we decide which is the most likely where my glucose is sitting at. 77. That's still a beautiful number. But that's too many digits apart. I want 3 digits or less, fewer, so that I can know that I'm on target here. Okay, so we're going to go with the 74 because 71, 2, 3, 4. Well, let's take one more out of curiosity since we do have a range. And I can do that because I have a $200 annual subscription that gives me unlimited, let's see, I don't have to stab again, unlimited test strips. And if that appeals to you, I have the link to it in my description box. I'm not an affiliate. I'm not getting any kickback. 79. I should have stayed with the 74. Okay, let's look at all the numbers now. I'm not getting any kickback from Dario. I'm going to click on logbook down here so I can see all the numbers from this morning. So I started with 71. I got a 77, a 74, a 79. I'm going to take the 77 because the 77 and 79 are just 2 digits apart. And so I'm going to call my morning fasting glucose a 77. Now let's enter that in the data-driven fasting app. Okay. So there you may be able to read the screen that my personal hunger trigger is 81. And so I could go ahead and eat this morning, and I'm going to. So I will put that in both my morning waking number. There's the waking number. I'm going to put it in as a 77. And that time is reading 6:50. Okay. So I don't have any of these events to check off that would give me a temporary lower trigger. I'm going to record the 77 for 6:50 a.m. as my waking. I'm also going to record it as my before meal number. And I'm going to change the time so it agrees exactly 6:50 a.m. and put the value in again, 77, and I'm going to leave the did will you eat box checked. I have a slight hunger this morning at level 2, so I'm checking that, and I'm hitting record, and I'll get a message. I thought I would get a message. Let me look at navigate. Did I do it right? History. Make sure they're both in here. 6:50, 6:50, before meal. They're both in here. Let's, I'm going to delete this one and see if I end up with that message. Or I'm going to just update it. Let's see if I get the message about meal and hunger and stuff. Okay, I don't. So I'm going to delete it and try and just enter it again for the sake of seeing what that message would be. Okay, did I? Yes, it deleted it, so it's gone. Now I'm going to hit track again. Glucose, before meal, 77. Did will you eat is checked. Hunger, check it at 2. Time, dial the little clock back by 2 minutes, so my times agree. And now record. Wonder what's going on with the app. I'm not getting the message. I wonder if it's because no, yesterday I got a message. I put in 2 numbers yesterday and I got the message. Well, maybe Alex is updating the app or something, and it's not sending out messages at the moment. Okay, that's enough. Actually, no, it's not enough. I told you I was going to show you my weight progress on the Renfo app. So I'm going to click on that. And there, I'll go back to this morning's actual weight measurement. 138 on the money here. Okay, so now that was measurements. I'm going to hit trends so you can see that. All right, there are my trends for the entire 18 days. When I was coming here, and I was in Texas, that morning when I got on the bathroom scale on July 15th, I weighed 144.4. And then I've had this kind of up and down thing going on. And this morning on the scale, there's the 138.0 in a 2-week time period. Actually, that's more than a 2-week time period because it's 18 days, not 14 days. So I just put the numbers in my calculator on my phone from July 15th to August 1st, 18 weight measurements. That is 6.4 pounds. Now, today, with what's happening, I'm pretty positive that the weight will go up when I step on the scale tomorrow morning, because having a date with my daughter this morning, or late morning to lunchtime, and then having a date with a friend from church, that both of those are probably going to be food-related events. We're very, that's normal. People are social with food. And I have said some things earlier on in the videos about being a believer, about being a Christian. I even shared the gospel. And so here I'm going to share my favorite verse, part of my verse. It's from Genesis chapter 18, verse 5. It's not all that spiritual. It is, "Come, I will fetch a morsel of bread and comfort ye your hearts." A friend did that on a plaque for me when she heard that that was my favorite verse. And a lot of times when people come to our home to visit, I feed them. That's just what I do. I feed people. And when people get together, they like to be social with food. So I'm going to be social with food today and enjoy it. That's just fine. And then tomorrow I have planned a different kind of food day, another probably light food day. I made that gingerbread cake yesterday so that I could wrap individual pieces of it and take that with me on the plane. And I'm also going to take some of the cinnamon sugar, well, it's not sugar, it's allulose, protein crepes with me to travel back. Probably some carrot sticks, because I realized yesterday that I haven't been eating enough vegetables, and one of the simplest ones is to eat raw carrot sticks, whole, unpeeled, organic, raw carrots. I'll have a description link in the video box about why you would want to do that. So back to blood sugar numbers. The excitement in my voice this morning when I thought maybe I had a 71 for a morning fasting glucose, the reason for that excitement is just about the idea of being in a really healthy glucose range. And there is a link in the description box about optimal glucose values. When I first started using a glucose meter as my fuel gauge, the idea from Marty Kendall of optimizingnutrition.com, I did not know what I should expect for healthy glucose numbers. I just knew what I was fasting down to, and that was based on a tiny little chart that I later discovered was created by Chris Kresser. I'll put links to his article. I'm trying to remember the title of it. It's got a good little title. How to prevent diabetes and heart disease for $16. Well, that's a reference for the idea that you could go to Walmart and you could buy yourself an inexpensive glucose meter kit, and it's not $16 anymore. This is an old article from 2019. But when I bought my meter kit, well, I'm thinking back. The last time I checked at Walmart on the meter kit, it's $20, and it has all the supplies in it that you need to be able to test your glucose 50 times. There's a link in the description box that shows that the section in Walmart where to find that meter. The box looks a little bit different. They've changed the color scheme on the box, but everything else is just the same. I'll put up a picture with the new color scheme of the box or the meter. And that's how I tell people to get started in this if they're interested. And then if they find they are going to keep with the practice of using their glucose meter as a fuel gauge, they need to shift to the Dario that costs $200 a year, because within 4 months' time of testing, the price of the Dario and the Rely On Prime meter were the same, but then for the rest of the months of the year, the other 8 months of the year, I was getting the equivalent of all the test strips I could blow through from Daria. They just mail them to my home. My daughter has watched me do this for the past couple years, and I gave her a meter once, and she used it for a while, and she did lose some weight, but her life is busy enough, and her brain is going in different directions enough that it was too much for her to keep up with testing herself on regular times through the day, which all you need to do is really take your pre-meal glucose numbers. Before you're going to put food in your mouth, take your glucose number and see what it is, and write that pre-meal number down, and then do an average of numbers, and as time goes on, you lower that averaged number down, and you wait until you get to that lower averaged number, and you will lose weight as you give your glucose time to fall down. Anyway, she gave up the manual testing, and I think sometime this week she has a delivery she's expecting of a continuous glucose monitor. I'll put a link to Marty Kendall's article about continuous glucose monitoring, and he evaluates the options for meters. He talks about whether or not it's a good idea to get a continuous glucose monitor versus using a manual one like I'm doing. And so that article would be a helpful resource for you to look through. Not everybody's willing to use the manual method just because they can't stand the idea of sticking themselves. The downside to using a continuous glucose monitor, it can give you so much data that it can be confusing. But if you're aware of that, and if you use it wisely, it's very informative. Actually, I would love to play with one for a while, but that's not to be. The expense is not something we're going to do right now. I'm sticking with the manual method. Maybe someday I'll have a meter to play with for a while and see the difference in living with the two different ones. I think that's enough for now. Started this morning video, day 18 of my 30-day health challenge, and I will come back at some point, even if it's just at the very end, and update on the day. And between now and then, I am going to eat and refuel. Oh, I just did remember something. There was a great video by Dr. Ben Bickman, and he explains kind of the overview of insulin and fats and proteins and carbohydrates. I'm going to link that video in this description box, and probably from all the description boxes here on out. Just keep that resource there. It's a good one. It's a good compilation and explaining the process of weight storage and using up stored fuel, all in that one little video. It's less than 7 minutes. This is a box of supplies that Dario sent to me because I was here in California. So there are 300 test strips. These 4 packets of test strip cartridges come in a box. So there's a box of 4 packages and a box of 4 packages, and that would be boxed up. And then you get a new supply of Lancets, which I never use. They end up in the trash because I don't use very many Lancets. I reuse them all the time. Most people do. So there's my Dario meter kit. That's the whole kit. And I need to go ahead and I'll pull out a cartridge. I've only got a few strips in there, so I will refill and move those strips into the new cartridge. So here's a new cartridge packet. Just pull that open. And I got extra help here with me. Hold on a second. So, off camera. My extra help is off camera. And temporarily being quiet. That's nice. Okay, now I'll take these extra strips from here, from this cartridge, and just add them into here. And then close that up. And then that gets thrown away with
my hand.
Yeah, I touched your hand, didn't I? And put the end cap back on here. And there's my meter kit. Now, I did point out before, my hinge here is a little bit sprung. And I know that if I call customer service, which the number is in the description box, along with a link for the $200 subscription. If I call customer service, they'll go ahead and replace this meter. This is the second one, or meter kit. This is the second one I've had in 3 years. And so it doesn't surprise me that this hinge is split after the many times of back and forth, in and out with the meter. See, so but it's still very functional. And I know they'll replace it. I am cutting up the gingerbread cake so that I can take some pieces with me on the plane tomorrow. And Grand Girl is getting cake for breakfast. She thinks that's kind of cool. So she's busy eating her cake for breakfast, and I'm busy wrapping up pieces of cake so that I can have some for travel and leave some for my daughter's family. This meal is a dessert meal. The protein pancakes are making an appearance again. So there's 3 protein pancakes with peanut butter flour mixed up into a peanut butter mixture, topped with, then there's bananas on the outside and crushed chopped peanuts. So I sprinkled some allulose on there and a few more whole peanuts. Then I have peppermint tea, and that little dessert cake is the gingerbread dessert cake that's made with zucchini, and I have the recipe for that linked in the description box. The protein pancakes are also linked in the description box. I am popping in between dates. I spent the morning with my daughter. She took me out to one of her favorite restaurants that actually she hasn't been to in 3 or 4 years. So we went there, had the whole 9 yards, an appetizer, a smoothie, the entree, and then we went to some other place, a specialty ice cream shop, and I had ice cream. Now, the one good thing I did for myself before we left was I ate the protein peanut butter pancakes. They did have some energy with them, the carbohydrates from the bananas and a little bit of fats from the crushed peanuts, but basically it was trying to lay a foundation of protein before I went out and had this food fest that today is becoming. So I'm popping in here to show you my blood sugar from round 1, and then I'm about to leave to go have an afternoon date with with the date that I had to break earlier on in the trip here, when I was supposed to meet with this woman and I came down with a cold the night before, so I couldn't in good conscience go meet with her. And as the day went on after I canceled with her, it definitely was the right decision to cancel. So let's turn the camera around and take a look and see what my blood sugar looks like. This could be painful and embarrassing, but we'll see. All right, so we have test strips. So let me just hold on to them instead of laying them on the table. Yeah, my thing is getting sprung. I definitely need to call Dario and get a new case. This one is wearing out. Okay, so waiting for it to tell me to keep going. Now insert a test strip and get a drop of blood. attach that to the test strip. Raise another drop so I don't have to stick again. 91. Well, I know it's going to climb today. This is just the beginning because I just barely got back from lunch or breakfast or brunch, whatever it was, with my daughter. Another drop here. And I just finished the ice cream cone. 97, so I had 91, 97. Get another drop while I still can bleed. And last test strip to verify the numbers. Okay. So 91, 97, and 102. So 97. We're still 3 away from anything. Let's try a 4th one. Okay, add that. I want my digits, 3 digits, no further. All right, hopefully this is one of them. 91, 97, 10 something. Whoa, 200. Now we didn't jump that fast. That's ridiculous. Maybe it's sugar on my hands from the ice cream cone. Because I don't take the time to wash my hands and I don't change needles. And most people don't. They just test. 88. Well, we're going all over the board, aren't we? Somewhere along the way, we'll get 3 digits. Agreement, and we'll go with that. And I don't worry about test strip costs because it's all rolled in for me. One subscription price per year, $94. Okay, we're gonna go with that. I'm going to show you all the numbers together. That 200 has got to be an anomaly. Maybe sugar on my hands. So I actually can get rid of that, I believe. Let's see if I can touch on it. I see I can hit delete and it is gone. And then we've got more reflective numbers. So 94, 88, 102, 97, 91. I'm going to go with a 94 as my glucose post-meal. So I will enter that into the data-driven fasting app. Track glucose after meal 94. And we'll leave the time as it is and record. Is there a message? Wow, well done. You had a great meal. Well, not really, but that's what the numbers are saying. So there's that. I'd like to take a nap, just go lay down and take a nap. Now I feel like I'm in a bit of a food coma, but I will reach out to my friend and say that I'm on my way and give her an ETA. And then there'll be another food experience. I don't remember the name of the place. Oh, Manhattan Boardwalk? Let me look. Manhattan Beach Walk. She said that when I get to her, she'll then drive us to some place where we can pick up sandwiches and we can eat at the beach and take a walk, take a beach walk. And she said something about the Manhattan Beach Walk. It's lovely. So I guess I'm going to get introduced to that. Basically, what I want is to enjoy her company. Oh, there is a hummingbird that just perched on the wire up there in the umbrella, and it's sitting there. That is beautiful. Fine little needle beak, and there it goes. It's gone over to the glass hummingbird feeder that I showed in another one of the videos. I don't remember which day it was. Anyway, I will try to take my glucose a couple more times today and watch it rise and see at what point it starts to resolve again. Not that I necessarily want to know how high it goes, but it's good to know the whole truth and nothing but the truth, right? So, on to date number 2. Well, we're at the end of day 18 of my 30-day health challenge, and today was my last full day here in California with my daughter and her family. I just gave little one her bath, and I'm trying to keep an eye on her from an adjoining room. She's got Peppa Pig going on, and her mother is busy with a phone call that she needed to be on. So this will be short. I think I said what I needed to say earlier in the video this morning. I did check my glucose numbers throughout the day, and I was kind of surprised that they didn't go nuts from all the eating I did today. I do expect my weight to be up tomorrow morning, but that's just par for the course after a day like today, and I'm fine with it considering since I started day 1 of this 30-day health challenge, here I am on day 18, and I'm down 6.4 pounds. So I don't really need to keep going at that rapid of a rate. Like to things to settle out a little bit, and today will definitely take care of things settling out a bit on the bathroom scale. So need to get to bed and try to get a good night's sleep because I'll be up early, headed to the airport, and hopefully back in Texas with my husband tomorrow evening. I'm ready to go home. But tomorrow I will do day 19, and I may wait and do it from the airport once I get there and get checked through TSA, and then I can sit and wait for my flight and maybe do like I did for day 1. Start that day 18 in the airport. Good night.